Well, I haven't done a video on the motorcycle in a while, so I thought this might be kind of interesting. As you know, I've got my R1, and I've been working on the suspension. I put the rear suspension on, and then I was going to do something on the front. I was going to put the Ohlins 20 millimeter fork valve piston kit, spring kit in. And then I ran across this great deal on Craigslist. And it was actually a local guy, real super nice guy. And what it is the FG 327 road and track forks. So let me just show you what I got here. And so I'm very excited about these. You can see I've got my little decals here. I think I'm going to use the black ones since the bike is black. But these are, I believe these are 25 millimeter cartridges or internals. They have the titanium nitride coatings on here. They're already set up. These actually came off of a 2004 R1 that was used on the track. But I got a real good deal on these, so I picked them up. And I just want to give a quick little tour of it, of the forks. You can see kind of how they're put together. They've got the brackets that allow you to run the stock 2004 to, I think it's 2006, calipers in the front. And then it's got a little spot for the axles. I'm in the middle of kind of changing some of the hardware around on these, but like I said, I did want to make a little video. So, and then you can see the adjustment on the top, the preload, and down here, I haven't really gone through the manual 100%, but you can see down here, I believe that's the compression adjustment, if I'm not mistaken. And I think there should be an adjustment in the middle here. And again, I have to double check the manual, but I believe it's a 3 millimeter Allen key that allows you to adjust the rebound. So, but anyways, real nice forks, and I'm actually in the process of taking this top cap off. Let me show you the tool that I ended up buying over at Kyle Racing, which luckily it's just down the street from where I live, so it's pretty handy. Dan is real helpful. So I stopped by this afternoon, picked up some tools. You can see what I've got here. This is one of the springs. It's the, I don't know if you can make out the numbers there, but it's the 04744-95 spring, which goes in the road and track forks. This is a 9.5 Newton per millimeter spring, and what that means is it takes 9.5 newtons of force to compress the spring 1 millimeter. The reason I have just this one spring sitting here is because these forks were originally set up. One fork has a 9.5 spring in it, and then the other one has a 10 spring in it, which gives kind of a hybrid spring rate of, I guess it would be 9.75 or 9.725 or something like that. And so that's done to tailor the springs to the rider's weight. The guy I bought these from was, I think it's marked on the box here, let me see. I think he was let me see here. Yeah, let's see. So here's the notes when Kyle Racing originally set these at 175 without gear, and I'm 175 to 180 with gear. So I needed to bring the spring rate down a little bit. So I talked to Ohlins tech guys and basically decided to switch from the current spring setup, which is 9.5 in one and 10 in the other, to 9.5 in both. So that should give me a setup that should cover approximately 150 to 180 pounds. So at 175 roughly, depending on the weight of my gear, I think that should put me in the right range for the preload. These have, I think, 15 millimeters of preload, and I want to try to get in about eight rounds on the preload setting. Originally, these were set up with 100, and I believe it was the build sheet is here. I believe it was. Let me double check here. Yeah, it was 160 millimeters on the oil level, and what that means is when you fill up these tubes with oil, you measure from the top down. So if you're measuring, 160 millimeters, which is about that much, then you've got oil filled up to that point. The recommended level is 170 millimeters. So what you're talking about is at 170 you're going to be measuring. It seems like, well, 170 millimeter oil level would be more oil, but it's actually less oil. And the reason for that is because you're measuring from the top here down to the oil level. So if you've got 160 millimeters from the oil to here, you're talking about more oil. And the reason that's important is because when you put more oil in, you displace some of the air. And of course, air compresses more readily than a fluid. So the volume of air in these forks is important because it will affect how hard or soft the forks are, kind of at the end of their compression range. So I don't want to bore you with the details of tuning these, but the basic idea is that if you put more oil in, you have less air, and since the air is more springy, the shocks will be harder. And if you put in more oil, the oil level reading is smaller, which is a little confusing when you first are working with these forks. So basically, 170 is the range that they suggest, which is probably what I'm going to start out with initially. If you wanted to soften them up for the road a little bit, then you would take out a little bit of oil, so maybe run 180. Like I say, right now they've got 160, so they're a little bit firmer for the track, but I'm gonna change them back to probably 170 or so. Anyways, I want to cover some of the tools I picked up at Kyle Racing. This is just a standard wrench out of my toolbox, but that goes on top of here. This is a very nice kind of cap tool that Dan makes over at his shop. And what it does is these two pins, it kind of acts like a spanner, but these two pins here index into the top of the fork cap, as you can see. So that gives you, and I've already loosened these. What I did was I just basically clamped this into my vise. Then I shoved the front of the end of the fork into these pins and then just twisted, and I was able to free up the top cap. And then of course I need to put this spring in along with putting in some new oil, some fresh oil. And so according to Dan, there's I guess down in the fork tube there's like a rod, and I haven't had these apart, so I can't give you a super great explanation, but there's basically a rod that you have to pull up. So when I was at his shop today, he's like, oh, do you have the lift up tool or whatever? I said, well, I don't, because I don't know what the heck you're talking about. And he said, oh, well, we sell one. So, and here it is. It's very nice. It has two thread pitches on it, one on one side and then one on the other. And I believe this side here with the little bevel is for the FG series, which is what this is. And my understanding is once you've got the fork open, you kind of need to, you put this down and thread it onto the shaft, and that allows you to pull it up, and then I believe that's how you separate it from the well, I don't know what it does. I know it lets you pull it up, and then I guess when you pull it up, then I guess you screw the cap back on. So that's basically what it does. So anyways, And then, of course, I have to put the spring in. I have to find the fork that has the 10 Newton per millimeter spring, and then put that in. So, anyways, like I say, I just want to do a little kind of update on the motorcycle and what I'm working on. I've already got the YA343 Ohlins installed in the back, like I said, and so I'm going to be putting these on the front. I had to order a headstand that would lift the front. You can see over here on the motorcycle, I've got in the garage is a complete disaster. You can see I'm in the middle of working on my welder and the mill, and it's a complete disaster in here, but I'll get things cleaned back up. Anyways, you can see I've got the Yamaha stand over here, and that holds the bike up by the bottom of the forks, which of course the forks need to come out. I was going to weld up a little stand that holds the bike by the frame sliders, but I decided to just go ahead and buy a triple tree or a headstand. So I bought that. It's coming from eBay. Should be here in about a week, and then I'll pull the forks off and swap these guys on. I was also looking into a buddy of mine who I think runs these basic forks. Said look into the super bike valving on them. I don't know. I sent an email to Dan asking him what that's all about. I don't know if I'm going to go, that far for a street bike where I'm only going to track it maybe a couple times a year. But if I do put whatever, once I find out what once the super bike valving is, then I may put it in or I may not. So just depends on the cost. Anyways, like I said, I got these for a pretty good deal, so I'm pretty happy. Normally these retail, I think it's for $3,000, and I see them go like on R1 forum and eBay all the time for about $1,500 or $1,600 used. So, but these are in fabulous condition. So, like I said, I just want to kind of have a video up on YouTube that covers these in case anyone out there is shopping for these or buying a set of them, or just interested in what's available for their bikes. So, okay, I think that's about it. I'll make another video when I get them on the bike and kind of do an update on where the bike is. I'm gonna, like I say, once these are on, it's gonna finish the suspension out, and then I think the next thing is I'm gonna look into putting some Marchesini rims on the bike, and maybe even get crazy and put some carbon ceramic or carbon matrix, I think, front rotor, since I understand that saves a lot of weight. And then at that point, I think that's probably going to be it. I don't think I can stomach putting any more money into my R1. Okay, hope you enjoyed the videos. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And like I say, once I get them on the bike, I'll make another video and post on YouTube. Okay, thanks for watching.